Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. This week's video, I wanted to show y'all how to take a big t-shirt and turn it into a slim, sexy dress. Shout out to Justin, the creator behind these shirts. I'm trying to be like him, folding my shirt up to show y'all the designs. Super dope. Fashion merchandising, the next big thing. Y'all better keep a lookout and shop with his creative design. So I was super excited about this because I've done a shirt before, but I've never made a big shirt into a dress. So you're gonna grab the dress that makes you look the sexiest. It hugs the hips nice. It makes your curves pop out. It just makes you look good overall because you want that shape for this dress. And make sure it's nicely centered, lined up at the bottom so that it's even when you're tying the pieces together. This is how girls measure, if you ever were curious about that. This is why we have long nails, actually. So I actually think the scissors in my hand are hair scissors, but grab your scissors, grab the nearest ones, I guess, whichever will do the job. This actually did the job really well. It was cut in pretty straight and not a struggle at all. I will not be able to tell you how thick I made them. I wasn't really measuring that. All I would say is just don't make them too thin, because I've learned from making past shirts that they will thin out those strings on the side. So make them thick so that they have some, you know, like stability is the word I'm looking for, so that after a couple washes they're still gonna look the same. And let me tell y'all something, this process took a lot of thinking. Like, I had to stop and pause for like 15 minutes as I was thinking about where I wanted to cut and how high I wanted to cut. This was me like contemplating how high I wanted to go on the dress, like with the strings where I'm gonna be tying it in, because I do need a place where I need to cinch it in the back so it ties in the back. So I like didn't want to cut too high, you feel what I'm saying? And that's why for these situations you want to start with as little as possible and then increase. Like, you don't want to cut too much. Like, start with a little piece to cut off, and if that doesn't look good, then you go a little bit more. Nothing too crazy, because you can't, you know, do the reverse of cutting back. And I was totally eyeballing it, but I think I did a pretty good job keeping it straight across. Like, I did that. Now, I was so nervous about just making the right cuts. I was really trying to get stuff that made it look even on both sides. Like, I didn't want to be uneven, especially when I was cutting this, like the sleeves off. I didn't want like one boob to be out because I cut it too much. So that hat was not going to do the job. It was way too round. It would definitely cut into my boob. So I just got my pencil and my folder, because I also don't have a ruler. Can you tell? But we definitely needed to start off on the right foot. I didn't want to ruin Justin's shirt. Like, that's what was going through my mind while I was making this. I was like, I really gotta do a good job with this. I can't fuck it up. Also, I'm cutting in a diagonal because I want that like halter top look. Some people don't do it this steep, like the line so steep, because they like just like the sleeves to be cut off, so it's more of shoulders at the top of your dress. So a bright idea I figured out after the fact is I held the dress up to myself to see where I liked it to be cinched, and then that is where I cut the strings up to, which I think was just one more cut with a nice thick size. And also keeping in mind that this is the top of where it's gonna sit over your booty crack, so you got to make sure it's high enough that it's covering all the right places. So this is a terrible angle of me trying on what I got so far, just making sure everything is where it's supposed to be and giving me confirmation for me to move to the next step and cut the back out. Now, I love me a thick strap for the back. I've seen people cut out thinner straps, but like I said before, I'm trying to keep in mind for the future, like I want this to last a long time and those strings will thin out. And I also just like it so that it cinches a little bit more when I pull it back. And when you're cutting the bottom section of the belt and the top section of the skirt, just be very careful. I even went like a little bit of a curve up so that I'm not cutting down and it's not giving me a lot of space for my booty. I hope that made sense what I just said. And I wanted to do something different for the neck. I wanted longer strings so that I'm able to tie it how I want to, and it can be a little bit versatile. Again, I like to cut my strings thick, and I don't know why I was cutting the collar like that. I don't know if it looks weird, but I do have a lot of faith in the strength of the collar, so I guess that's why I made it thinner. But these are all the pieces that you are going to want to cut out for your dress. Now I'm going to go ahead and tie the sides. And I definitely would suggest to do this while it's on you so that you can tighten it in the right places. Like where you might want it to be especially snug, and just make sure it fits correctly. So I went ahead and tied the first one on each side so I have some stability. And I did two methods to try to tie these. On this side, I cut all of the strings first and then tied them, which was fairly difficult because I kept trying to tie it and then like the next pair would get in my way, or I'd like lose the next pair like behind the skirt. But it is a lot less back and forth with the scissors, so that's that pro, I guess, to that side. This side I cut them one at a time and tied them one at a time, and honestly this was much better because the stuff was getting in my way and I found a place to hold my scissors, so it wasn't that big of a deal. When I tied the first side I wasn't sure about it being tight enough, but this side showed that I had to like cinch it in, and it was the perfect tightness around the thighs. Yeah. And this is the main part of the dress. Look, we got the basics down. When you put the bonnet up, you know you're about to get to business. That's why I love my Royal Crown bonnet, because I actually didn't want to take my bonnet off, and I didn't have to because I could just put it up, okay? So this is when I started to get the ideas about doing different types of styles with my straps, because I saw the same design with the halter neck top on everybody's TikTok. So I was like, let me try to make it a little bit different. You know, I don't like to be normal. I like to have my little like personality in there somehow. So this is me trying to figure out how exactly I was going to do that. I liked how this looked here, so I was like being very inspired. You see me, I'm getting lit. I was feeling myself. Okay, go girl. Hey, 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 okay. So make sure that your neck is tied really tight so that whenever you cut, it's not gonna move around. Yeah, double knot it if you need to. And I didn't have no method, rhyme, or reason to what I was doing. I was just trying to cut around, you know, find my place. I knew that I didn't want just one straight cut down. I wanted it to be pretty wide. You know, I like to show off my tattoo, but I also didn't want it to go too deep. Like I was scared that it was just, I was gonna keep cutting. Like, you know, when you start cutting hair and then you just, it's slanted, so you just keep cutting, and then all of a sudden the person is bald. I used to do that all the time with my Barbie dolls. Like I used to ruin their hair terribly, thinking I could cut hair, girl. And I was not about to ruin this shirt with a tacky top when the bottom would turn out to be so cute. So just listen to your heart and cut where you feel you need to. I'm just fixing up the scragglies, and yeah, just make sure that it's in a nice straight line and there's not like, it doesn't look ragged edges. This is not like zombie party. This is supposed to be cute. And I actually ended up liking this design at the time, which I think is super cute, and it was like the look I was going for, but a closer look, you can tell it's a little uneven, and I didn't test this out with the different, you know, ways that you could strap it around, so I didn't, you know, realize that it wouldn't work 100%. But, you know, I'm just excited to actually look cute and, you know, accomplish this. So I was worried about the fit, trying to figure out what shoes I was going to wear, if I wanted to go with like, you know, the red, black, and white classic colors, or something crazy like pink and red, because I have those platform Converse. Okay, look, so this is me getting back on track and me trying out the different strap versions. The collar was irking me though. It was looking really ragged, and I wasn't sure how to fix that. As you can see, I was still very happy with the results. Like, it was really coming together. Thank goodness for that celebration, because then I could see that just folding that piece in is not going to work, and that's what motivated me to, you know, cut it a little bit more so that it can be versatile no matter what you're doing, because you don't want to be dancing and having to fix your shirt all the time. You just want it to be there. And putting both straps to the side, you're gonna have to connect it to the back strap, which doesn't sound hard in theory. So anyways, so I have this romper that's supposed to be one size fits all, but it has these knots at the strings to help with the boobage. So that's where I got this idea from, to help with that collar popping out. I did fix this one because it's still popping out, and I showed y'all like that was the right way to do it. And it wasn't, and I'm gonna figure that out in a second when I see how the knots look, if it looks tacky or not. But we're getting somewhere. It's definitely coming together. I'm figuring it out. Those knots are actually too small too, so I just wrapped it up twice. So I believe that's 2 knots on each side. And as you can see, I did cut it a little bit more so that it's not overlapping and I don't have to fold it in. And a way for it to look cute in all of the different ways that you can strap it around. Now, there are a couple of ways that I think that 2 strap over the shoulder will connect to that back strap. But if you have any ideas and you want me to go into depth, then comment down below and I will. So this ended up being the final look. I did like this version of the straps, and I decided to style the dress, because you can't just wear it, you gotta style it, okay? And this is a little sneak peek of a reel that I'll be dropping this week, just to show y'all the different ways that you can strap it around. Bada bing, bada boom, that is how you turn an extra large shirt into a gorgeous, sexy, form-fitting dress that you'll be able to wear for years to come. Thank y'all so much again for tuning in. Comment below what is your favorite strap style, and if you're going to be making one of these dresses for homecoming this year. I will see you next week. Make sure you're subscribed and got those post notifications on. me.